Hello, viewership. Welcome to the second FME Freemusicempire Roundtable. The previous one was on the Roots Roundtable with Zilla Rocca and Rob from the Next Movement podcast. This one, I'm very proud to be doing the Killah Priest Roundtable. I am your host, the Tobias Harris of the hip hop blogosphere, 2020 every night, Dano, and I am joined. This is the Samurai edition. We've got Swordsman here with us.
Yeah.
Know it.
Blade.
Know it. Chop.
Blades.
Yeah.
Chop.
All day,
So,
all day.
We on one end we've got Fatboi Sharif coming off an incredible Dad Bod Rap Pod appearance, like a great appearance because I can hear one of the things I love about Dad Bod Rap Pod is I can hear them trying to figure out an album while they're talking about it. They don't come at it like, here's the deal, right? They come at it like we're thinking this through together, and they really didn't know what to make of the album. And your appearance deepened their resolve to kind of listen again.
Yeah. Shout out to them. They definitely that was definitely a dope ass interview for sure. And definitely a lot of people got put onto it because of that. People been hitting me up. So definitely shout out to them for sure.
You were right on that.
Them the folks.
You were right on that, Sharif, that like this is an album that's gonna have to like burn for a while. Like it's gonna have to Gandhi Loves Children with Roper Williams. It's gonna take people a while.
But that's fucking Refault because he's too prolific. He don't have the ability to let this joint chill. Trust me, yo. He could do like more videos. He could stretch his joint out, but he can't stop himself. So listeners, you know, get your study on because there ain't much time because the next bomb is dropping. And it's not his fault. He can't help himself. But that's truthfully speaking, you know what I'm saying, Reef? Like now you know with the accolades and stuff. This is one of those you could sit on for a year, stretch out, do another, little video remixes. You know how we do.
Yeah,
but I know your creative spin is a little different, so we'll see how
funny.
that goes.
It's funny you said that, Castro, because literally probably in the next 2 to 3 months, we're gonna do like a reissue with some extra joints on it, with some
videos.
You go. So
there you go.
we going and I got two my next 2 projects done already, so they getting mixed right now. So.
Milk this cow. Okay?
Yeah, hell yeah.
And
salute to you too, bro. That Haram shit. That shit. That wishing bad shit is. That wishing bad is.
One thing at a time. I think it's one thing at a time. Because Dan got away. He gonna get to it. So let's.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
So I was gonna say somewhere, Sean Combs is making an assistant cry, right? And another assistant is like sheepishly tapping the shoulder and saying,
I challenge that because I think you get a little rubric when you start working for Puffy, right? And things not to bring up, right? And it's like what they call them, sight words. You ever see them sight word cards you give kids or Rosetta Stone when you're learning languages? And it's like the name Puff Daddy, Christopher Wallace, Notorious B.I.G. It's like things, don't bring that up. Don't talk about it. So I think he doesn't even allow Puff to be typed in his keyboards. If he sees that keyboard stroke with the Puff, you get called into the office.
Puff and J-Lo. No J-Lo, no Puff.
No J-Lo. No Sean Poe. Don't say Sean Poe around here.
Never.
No. So you get you're like, there's probably the interns are huddled around wishing bad, listening to that verse then.
On the radio speaker, like low though, like low with their ears closed.
Not only is Castro one of the sharpest blades in the world, when the who would you have freestyle to save your life question came out, everybody was talking Castro. But he's also the most dangerous man in podcasting, someone who has like helped me understand artists in a way I didn't before. I understand Elucid because of you. I understood how to approach these people because you're really good at knowing the moments that define people and when they grow into their greatness.
Appreciate that. Your chakras got to be right to listen to Gutter. That's Elucid's nickname. The shock has got to be right. You might cause people having aneurysms listening to Rom now. Their brains just frying and shit. Like, oh shit, oh shit. Like,
and on the Color Culture Zoom, there was mention of like sub-based diet, and I realized I hadn't gone all the way back.
And
my
man been casting spells for a long time ago. Original shaman. Like, I know I use superlatives and words, but like it's when you describe Elucid, it's best to use those terms because those terms are apropos. It's not it's not hyperbole to call him a shaman and to call him an urban mystic, because that's what my man does. You know what I'm saying? He'll draw a circle on the floor and kill you with a 20 piece. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Trace it out with salt and all that good shit. So it's just like I akin him to not similar expressions, but like the way that Old Dirty Bastard was mystical in how they had to describe him when it came time to description. When he wasn't there. When he wasn't there in the cipher, when they were interviewing Wu-Tang and you had to describe Old Dirty, they would use so many different terms, circling the word lyricist or hype man and all that. They had to use, you know what I'm saying? They had to use more augmented words. And that's the same way when you describe Gutter, when you describe Elucid, you have to augment what you're saying because he does it with the, you know, spirit. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's an incredible thing. So, I mean, I just appreciate, I knew you were a great person to have here to talk Killah Priest, who, I mean, I want to say I appreciate deeply both of you being here, because any research you've done for this is too much research. Like, this is a person.
It's daunting. This is he's a third year college class. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a class.
Six year.
Okay, six. No extra one.
Yeah,
extra one. It's when you finish all your electives, and you need like a good 4 credits. And you're like, damn, I took all them classes. Oh, there's a Killah Priest class. Okay, look, 2 labs.
He was at the third year with Sons of Man.
Yes, that was intro to Killah Priest was on the Sons of Man curriculum, and then it's like, okay, all right, y'all got the time because did you finish your electives? Because if you don't have that extra time, you have you there at 6 p.m. and shit.
Oh man! And by the way, I want to say I don't have much to say about Sons of Man. I tried to research it.
Will.
I jumped into Savior Days by accident, and I was like, oh well, banksters, get out of here.
There's no real blueprint for Sons of Man, because honestly speaking, I believe with Sons of Man you kind of had to be there because it's a chronological thing.
Right.
So you get splashes of Hellraiser in them and Killah Priest. They all kind of a conglomerate-ish. Then Killah Priest pops off on his solo tip. Hellraiser's all on there. Then the Sons of Man project dropped. So it was a chronological thing in terms of, and we'll get into it, about your acolytes or your other auxiliary members having successful projects. We're plenty used to them just tossing out whatever on the cosign. Having a Wu-Tang, like you got it on your picture, having a Wu-Tang logo, that was 10,000, 20,000, 50, what is that, 30,000 sales already, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that like you would follow these cats, you always, I don't know about you, I always, and Zilla gets on me about this, I always would root for the underdog in the group. So like I'm a U-God fanatic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I go ham for Yui and shit. Really, I get into very, very deep arguments. So like Sons of Man, like the auxiliary groups, you know what I'm saying? People, 60-second assassin, a cat that might pop off, a shorty shit stain. He like, who's that? When are they coming back? The way Islord's fandom grew. Islord is a very acquired taste. Like, you know what I'm saying? Escargot gold flakes. But you wouldn't think so, because you're like, what is he doing? Well, head off your shoulder. No, this guy is spicy picante all over you. You know what I'm saying? Chorizo sprinkle.
It's ill you say that, because like I always look at like just a lot of different creators like that, where it's kind of like if we come in the cipher 10 deep, it might be four niggas that people is like, all right, this guy, I see how this guy connects to this guy, and the third guy, the ninth guy, you like, damn. He was some whole other shit, like
he with y'all, you with y'all, you with y'all, but there's always one of those,
hell yeah.
I brought up 60-second assassin, who was if I'm not mistaken, I think he was related directly to Old Dirty. I'm not sure, cousin, brother, whatever. But he had a sing song. He was talking. 60-second wasn't followed. All right, y'all got a beat. Oh, I don't care. I'm just put the beat underneath me, like that type of like that beat ain't got nothing to do with me, kid. You know what I'm saying? And so that and it was also like Like Reese, even Reese, it's very, I'll use the term, it's very scary to have an unorthodox style, to put your neck out there, because what if people don't get it? You know what I'm saying? I'll even bring in the great Billy Woods. I got into Billy Woods off of me finally figuring out Roscoe P. Coltrane out here in Philly, because it took a second. And you're listening to it and you're kind of getting it, but it's taking a second. And I remember my peoples being like, yo, Billy Woods is a genius. I said, that Billy Wood thing you sent me, like out in Woods knows it. I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, yo, they weren't just saying he was good. So I can get when cats say they're good and I miss it. Right. They were saying he was a genius. And I remember like, okay, and I remember having to stop everything. So when I finally got Woods, I stopped everything. I wasn't doing anything. I just pressed play on History Will Absolve Me. And I ain't gonna hold you. Then it was like, aha, here's his pocket. You know, same thing with a cat like Akai Solo. Here's the pocket. You're used to looking center frame, right? You're trained to watch a film. Center frame, Arnold's in the middle, flexing and stuff. But some cats got stuff going on at the edges. You know what I'm saying? And they're coming in with a whole different swing. And I think Wu-Tang taught us that. So anyway, when you have an unorthodox style, you're stepping out on a limb, because the other 8 soldiers, they locked in. 2 were like flow masters. That's all they do is flow. Other ones are slang doctors, whatever you want to call it. But then that one unorthodox, like nobody will forget Old Dirty, ever, ever. You know what I'm saying? And God rest the dead, all those other things. But his style, truthfully, because people just think he was humming and hawing. No, he's singing. He's singing the Shy Lights. And I will always remember his verse on Diesel, where he's breaking down so much science and he changes his flow. And he's like, so I was like, was he having I remember that was like, he must have been having a bad day. He didn't sound no impurities in him. I don't know what he was doing that day. But he started, that joint was like an axe, like a double-sided Gimli axe. Just chop. I was like, oh my God. And I remember just being like, yeah, stop, don't sleep on Dirt. You know, anyway, unorthodox style. Yeah.
I'm with you. No, and I think
hell yeah.
when you talk
funny
about
thing, like, his debut was my favorite Wu-Tang album ever.
Hold it down, yo.
Top to bottom. I'm like,
that joint is crazy. That release is crazy. You know, and the funny thing about it, Old Dirty in an interview said he was so skied out. Let me not say skied out, I don't like that term. He was just so elevated. He don't remember doing that record. I'm mad. Listen, think of all the man hours reaped that go into making a project and you don't remember it.
Yeah.
You don't remember the studio you in. You don't remember when you got the beat pack. You don't remember writing. That's a lot of blackout time. Now, but I heard David Bowie say he don't remember 2 of his records. He don't remember because he was recording in such a continuous state. Right. He don't know where anything starts and stops.
That's real shit. And it's crazy too, because like even going back to Dirty for a second, like and I think it connects with Killah Priest too. Like to me, like one of the strongest things that we got as creators and MCs is just our voice and how just certain words come out. And like I always love like how I always say it was genius that they didn't let ODB rap on Triumph. I'm like literally him talking in the beginning. That shit made the song so much better.
Yeah, how about it? I'm
like, if he had a verse on that shit, it wouldn't have been.
It would have pulled the whole thing at the beginning. And I think he was locked down, right? So they put that dude in the baklava ski mask in the beginning. Yeah.
Funny thing, that was Papa Wu. I never knew that.
Oh, that was Papa Wu in the video that did the falling part? Oh,
yeah. I literally found that shit out like a year and a half ago. I was like, shit.
God rest the dead. He just passed recently. Yeah.
So talking about schools of Wu-Tang MCs, because it was a lot when it first came out. I was talking to Keith, my co-host, about it, that like we used to study that interlude on 36 Chambers where they talked about the different superpowers everybody had. And we were trying to know everyone, right? And so,
well, Wu-Tang was legitimately, and that's the thing. A lot of things is lost. And legitimately, they would roll with like 100 people.
Yes,
like that's how many people would be at the performances on the stage. About 50 to 100, and that's a lot of cats. And so, when you have a lot of cats that see that their lead pack is doing this rap thing and it's working, like you know what I'm saying. Yep. And I think it was they were reorganizing the DNA of a whole generation. 100%. You know what I'm saying?
Great
and so so like there was a lot of acts that popped on. Good then. Sorry.
And there were schools of thought, right? Like Ghostface and Ray were doing the pre-dope rap, and then GZA and Killah Priest were kind of doing what 50 would make fun of them later called scientifical rapping, right? Like
not traditional lyrical miracle scientific, just high science talking about planets and energy, you know what I'm saying? But not the flow wise, but just
research, like right. The stories are that GZA like spends weeks on a verse and researches it and edits it and all that stuff.
Hell yeah.
And that's like why
that's how we do it. That's how we do
it. Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense for it.
So GZA is the MC that when he speaks, everybody listens. So he has the floor. So that's why he takes that time. He has the floor. Ain't nobody, that's nobody laughing and that's dope. They waiting for the whole meal. They get that whole piece at once.
That makes sense. And the guys in the middle who, like you were talking about, orthodox, who you could just plug in anywhere and they rap their ass off. Like people like Meth, people like Inspector Deck, like that was the people. Maybe Capadonna might be in there, where you can just plug him in. He just goes. Like it's not. He doesn't need the right anything. And so there were these different diverging schools and people who were in these camps. And I think it was interesting to me to think of what separated GZA from Killah Priest. And I think some of it was what Sharif was talking about. Like Killah Priest has a lot of voices. He can change his voices in a lot of ways, his tones in a lot of ways. He can get emotional in songs. He can get very angry.
But upon first glance, you would think he was just straight monotone. But I get what Reef is going at. It wasn't monotone. He had that golden tone. There's certain cats that rap. Their voices sound great amongst anything. Like it was meant for their voices to go through a microphone and a preamp and come out the other side, because it's like this warmth around him. And he was always demanding on a track. So if Killah Priest is on a track, and we'll get to that, of course, but like, you know, having a solo track on a GZA record, as we can slide over. So now we can talk Haram and Wishing Bad. So we can talk about that now. So like it's important for me to get on when I'm on Armand Hammer projects and to leave a decent mark. There's a level of quality. Shaq always has that stupid joke about, you know, G14 clearance and all that, but that's what it is. Like this is rarefied air, so you can't blow your shot. You know what I mean? And so I always take writing for them very seriously. From like the first thing I did with them when I did the Duppy reprise way back in the day, or when I did I'm on a couple of their joints on the Half Measures mixtape. Zilla would always tell me I go to another chamber when I write for them. Gladly, I have now expanded that chamber to when I write all the time, but there was a time when I would lock in a certain way with them. So when it came time to the Haram, Alchemist production, I know the stakes. Like you didn't have to walk me through it or let me read the fine print or whatever. But I also have stuff of theirs that hasn't come out. So I was like, okay, if I give them something, I've had songs that's been on the bubble for all the Armand Hammer projects in the past. And so I was like, all right, so if I'm giving something, let me make it a little shorter. That way I won't feel so heartbroken if it don't make it. But by making it short, I had to make it sharper. You know what I'm saying? And so like I'm spending less time, but it has to have double the impact. And I'm rapping with woods and elusive. So all of that pressure, you know, builds, you know, carves diamonds, pressure builds pipe, you know, breaks pipes, busts pipes, makes diamonds. And so I try really hard to put my best foot forward when I'm working with the guys. So I remember just like, you know, so in that vein, and I hope I did a decent job, y'all. You know, I hope I did. I hope I did the blaze.
It was beautiful. It's a beautiful moment for what, like, in my head, I've been calling it the Armand Hammer Foundation, that you have these, like, Kelly, Chris, you, More Mother, just all these other people around fielded that just do great work with Armand Hammer, and have grown with Armand Hammer. It's so funny,
Dan. It's so funny you say it that way. I've been cracking up. Reef on the laugh too. You focus on the R, so you go Armand. So it's like Armand Asante, and most people go Armand Hammer, like the bacon pot. Like so they go.
You said it with two R's. You said it with two
Armand. He like Like if he was invited to Zamunda to come into America, he's an R now presenting Armand Hammer. It's funny as shit, but it's fine. Keep saying it that way.
No, I can't do better than it's like I speak like really badly. Like I like
You good, bro?
To like French
You
class.
That's the dignified way of saying it. You saying it with a pinky out, straight up.
Hell yeah.
I don't pronounce things well.
Keep it refined. Keep it refined. Yeah. You feel me?
You know what I'm saying? For real. Yo, look. Wash your hands off with the lemon after each course. Like we're not playing. You know what I'm saying? Clear the palate. Go ahead, continue. Sorry.
But no, it's the way it is. But you know, it's a really great moment for the whole kind of foundation around them, and it's
whole scene in general for sure.
And it's great because they didn't. Whenever they've leveled up, they keep the same people, right? It's not like, oh, now we're gonna get a feature from so and so because we can't.
I mean, let's give the flowers. Like Woods does have songs with A$AP Rock and beats by him, so like 100%. Woods has climbed to the mountain. He's been at the top of Kilimanjaro. You know what I'm saying? Yep. But definitely, knowing him, and he's my friend too. So like, I know he gets, when it comes to creative, like, look, ain't nobody gonna out-create my man. Like he gets into this. So like, a lot of things are done in service to the record. So where he might be able to, I don't know. I wouldn't put past Woods that he just did some of John Forte. I wouldn't put it past where he has Raekwon. He just doesn't know where to put him. Like I wouldn't even. He wouldn't surprise me with that. Or he has a J. Cole verse tucked. He has a J. Cole verse tucked.
And Kendrick.
And he got a Kendrick hook. Woods is definitely the type would have a Kendrick hook.
Well, Kendrick ad-libs.
Oh yes, yeah. Drank.
I want him to pop up on other people's stuff. I want like Billy Woods to come in and swoop in at the end of an Ari Lennox song.
Now, that's dangerous though. Woods, you know what he does with features. So I think some people choose I think people treat Woods like they do with Black Thought. They don't put him on their song because they're like, nah, I don't know. Let's give him a solo. Let's give him a Faster Blade. Yeah, you want to do a Faster Blade?
that Midnight Suns feature was unbelievable from last year. I listened to that. Woods not that.
Yeah, you sound a little muffled.
Huh?
You sound muffled. Like
you sounded low real quick.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, yeah, you go.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying the Midnight Suns feature from Woods was unbelievable. Let's do it a lot.
Wait, Dan, you still doing it? Yeah, you're going in and out. I don't know if it's because you're moving. It's not you moving forward. It's like something's making you muffle in and out.
The audio is the same here. So.
Oh, as long as you rocking, because you hear it, right?
Yeah, I hear this muffle. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know.
Oh no, you good now.
Okay. Now you sound good. Yeah.
It was like maybe like a 3 or 4 second grace period that it was like.
All right. Well, so let's get into it and talk about Sons of Man, the connection to that when that broke out. Was Killah Priest on the first one and then left after that?
No, the funny thing is when his first like debut was Diary of a Madman. So he was already doing
he was on with Gravediggers, he was on it?
Yeah, he rapped his verse was right before, I want to say it was after RZA verse. No. Yeah, it was Into the Realm of Understanding. And you could bleed
yeah, it is. And that's but that voice, there was so much going on. There was a lot of blending. So that's why I didn't pick it up. Okay, good. Continue.
There's a lot going on that album. That's awesome.
Yeah, that shit is beautiful. But yeah, he came out with Sons of Man. And then they had the first, really it was crazy because like when they first came out, the first 12-inch they had came out 3 years before the album came out. So they literally came out with the Archangels, the hold on, because I got it all. My bad. No. Oh, Soldiers of Darkness, No Love Without Hate, and 5 Archangels. So he was coming in out kind of like how I would say like Busta was killing all of the features and shit before The Coming came out. He came out, he did the Diary of a Madman, then he did the 12 inches, the 12-inch with the Sons of Man singles. And then from 95 to 96, he had 2 joints on Dirty album, the America's Dying Slowly shit with Wu-Tang.
I remember that. Yeah, I
the
remember that
America
song.
joint. And then the damn Five Boroughs Corrupted soundtrack joint with KRS and fucking a whole bunch of other niggas on it. So he definitely, like, when he came with Heavy Mental, he was definitely 4 or 5 years in of people being like, yo, Killah Priest killing shit. Like,
yeah, he had a solo song on Liquid Swords.
Yeah, right, Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then and he's on, what song is he on Liquid Swords? He's on Wisely Between Two Pillars of Ivory. What's that one? What is that?
Damn,
that Fourth Chamber? Is it Fourth Chamber? No, not Fourth Chamber, it's the other joint. Anyway, you see him in the video.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing too. You see him, he's in that video. So
Killah Hills? Killah Hills 10304?
No. That's like a storyteller.
No, he's on Jizz's album on Liquid Sword. Not just on Bible, he's on a track, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha.
Well, no, I don't know.
Yeah, Jizza believed in him from the get-go. Like, it was definitely.
Yeah, he smacked
Chamber. I think you're right. I think it's Fourth Chamber.
There it is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I know in Dirty, he killed Don't You Know, and Snakes. Like,
Woo.
Snakes, that's one of my favorite. What?
That's one of my favorite Wu songs ever, yo.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Snakes is crazy.
It hurt my heart when they tapped me on my shoulder, told him stay strong because his life is now over.
I'm with you on Dirty's first album. That was like, I was in high school. And we were just in this cold garage hanging out like all day because it's in Maine, and that was the soundtrack. Like, that was the perfect album for that.
There was some spitting on there.
Boy. Yeah,
Jesus,
100%.
Yeah.
And tons of personality, and it was
and it was like feature laden, like a Big Pun record, but not, because it was Wu-Tang. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Big Pun had pop. You get what I'm saying? There was a lot of cats all over that thing. But again, they were in that.
The features would clear out, and it's Sweet Sugar Pie, and you're like, that's Dirty. Like, that's good stuff. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, they definitely cleared this. There was no cluttering on the stage. Dirty definitely had his presence felt, for sure.
So, but yeah, I was talking with Blood Money Perez. We were talking about the new I Self Divine record, Rituals of Resilience, and I mentioned this Killah Priest Roundtable, and I said one of the things that I think is important about Killah Priest's career is that if you make your name on your lyrics, on being a lyricist in your content, when you drop something like Heavy Mental, that's a big chunk of that audience never leaves.
I mean, that was a planet. Like, it was a lot of gravity to that record. A lot of it's funny, if you go to it now, I have the CD, but if you go to now online, you can't play like, what is it, about like 3 of the songs you can't play.
Yeah. There's a few of those that are like the early ones.
The opaque that. I mean, I could be a sample. It could be a million reasons. It could be a feature not paid. It could be a royalty, whatever. But like, when you make that mark, you know what I'm saying? That was a heavy project. And again, it was amongst the Wu Deluge, and he wasn't a main member. So I think he was getting props for not being a main member and being that dope. Once you start getting to the copy of a copy of a copy in terms of like affiliates and stuff, the talent starts thinning out. You know what I'm saying? In certain places, there's only going to be so many people that were good on Killah Army, regardless of who was good in Killah Army. You know what I'm saying? It was Killah Sin and PR. Don't care what Ninth Prince tells you. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you're Riz's brother, but that doesn't matter. So you know what I'm saying? And then like, my man Beretta 9, I think he changed his name. He was a young MC getting better as they were doing it. You know what I'm saying? And then, Shogun to me sounded like an old MC. He's like, I'm good at. So anyway, my point is the talent gets thin, just basic on rap mathematics. And Killah Priest wasn't. And he was able to kind of have his own individual identity, which is hard when you have a big conglomerate as well.
Yeah, no, hell yeah, for sure. No, and it's crazy too, because like, to me, like, I would say Heavy Mental was so fire, but I heard like, because it came out on Geffen Records, and that's not even like a hip hop label. And it's crazy because I heard it was a version of it before the version had even like came out, it was a way iller, more
crazy
abstract version. I guess the label thought it was too crazy, so they made him probably tame it with more fake MC joints, like fake MCs and like more just like regular like shit that you was like, oh, that's a dope track.
Like I love Cross Your Heart, but Cross Your Heart is a little bit more crossover-ish.
Yeah. I heard at first the album was more of like heavy mental type joints, and I'm like, sheesh.
The whole like the half spoken. He was also in that realm in the spoken word pieces. This is also around the time of Slam and Saul Williams and Bo Seau and Sonia Son. So I was in that realm too. I was in college, so I was all about spoken word and that type of poetry at the time. And I'm a big Sonia Sanchez fan and Barack and all that. So then he has pieces like that.
I love Bo Seau. That was
Bo Seau is crazy. And then he has pieces on a record. And I remember back then it was like you would get a poem in and out though, unless they were like a high end poet. You know what I'm saying? Gwendolyn Brooks. If you got Gwendolyn Brooks or your shit, something like that. But other poetry things, this is before Big Rube even got really, really big. But for Priest to spend a whole track doing that style and the beat just doing its thing, that would inform what's coming with his current renaissance. To me, I think that's what he's tapping back into. Yeah, and I know we'll get to that.
I ain't gonna lie. I listened to that shit, like the song Heavy Mental. I was joking with my mans. I'm like, yo, literally, like this could be the best rap song ever. Bro. Like,
I used to zone out, just let it play, and I was gone. I was somewhere else. I tell people that all the time. I was not there.
That shit, like, no, because literally, like to me, that a song like that is like the epitome of like why we do what we do, or like a creative in the MC level, like, because it's like fuck the clubs, fuck if the ladies gonna like this shit. It's just like, yo, I'm literally writing to be the greatest writer of what I'm doing. Fuck all of that other shit.
Yep.
And you could tell when like I would have loved to been there for the studio session for that shit. Cause you could tell like,
they lit candles and turn all the damn lights off. Yeah, it was one of those. But the studio has a bunch. There's only a couple of so when you change a light on something, there's like what's it called? Not a shell. It's like oh my bad. It's a film. It's a transparent like film, and it's different colors sometimes. So you'll put it in front of a light, make it blue, make it red, or whatever. Yeah. He was like, yo, it's called a gel. Like, bring the purple gel in here. Yo, tape it up. You know, all types of stuff cats used to do to set a mood, because that's a whole mood, dog. You know,
fucking beautiful.
It sound like a one take. It don't sound like no punch-ins. Like, let's go. That might have been the third take, and just mash city. Like, ugh.
Can I give you my nerdiest heavy mental take?
Yes, please.
And hopefully this will appeal to you as a fellow philosophy major or in there. So I was listening to heavy mental and trying to think, like, what did this album give me that I just wasn't getting from anyone else in 1998? Because it's always stuck with me and it's always followed me. And I decided that I think it's like, there's a way to look at what Killah Priest does in rapping, that he's like an argument for nonlinear time.
Okay.
There's like a French philosopher, Henri Bergson, who talks about time is not a line, it's a chain that where the past and the present and the future link and band together and all that. And that's the way some of these verses are. There are verses where he's like, we were on slave ships, now we're Bloods and Crips, and he's like jumping hundreds of years.
He just speaks about the expanse and not like an individual moment or era. It's all one experience. And definitely his current material is like, he's, he'll go to the 1500s, he'll come back on some Tutankhamun shit, and he'll be with
the projects.
with John Locke. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Definitely, almost definitely.
So yeah, where he puts the lens is just like nobody else, right? Because you're going back to ancient Sumeria, but you're back to the block, and you're everywhere.
He does that.
And I think that starts on heavy mental, and that was just something that I just wasn't used to hearing at all from other people.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Now, if we want to fast forward to time, so with Killah Priest, I used to be a very heavy comic book collector, real big, and at one point it got away from me. I was collecting, I don't know, 15 titles. I don't know what stories I was following. And I had to stop. Particularly when I went to college and I left my collection at home. And then recently, 3 years ago, the X-Men started a new, they kind of rebooted their system with something called House of X and Powers of X. And I started collecting again. 30 years, give or take, later. I remember I stopped in like 95, 96, and then I started again 3 years ago. Killah Priest seems to me like that. I was off Killah Priest. Pretty much after, what's after Heavy Mental? It's the Cure.
Views from Masada.
Yes, and then
Views from Masada.
And then Priesthood.
Okay, so like Views from Masada, I was like, you know what it was? I was, you know, you being very particular. We were very hard on the Wu at this point. It's like we were being like, you know, microscopic.
Views from Masada, you could tell he was getting a little more into his fucking with Just Blaze and all of that type of shit.
A lot of stuff going on. And so like, so we were very highly critical. If you made that misstep or one of those missteps, you weren't fucking them. So I stopped tuning into Priest. And then I picked up, I ain't going, the Nebula joint. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, and I would see all of his stuff coming out. I think that Curious Case or something. There's so many. I know we're gonna run.
He got like 15 albums.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just like same way I would see J. Rule, the Damager, which I was a big fan of the first two records.
Loved you.
You would see a project. You know, he took over Germany. He's out there killing. Still, I think. And you would see a project and this project, and you would see these things kind of float, but they would just be ephemera. You wouldn't pay any particular attention to them. I don't know if it's our fault, their fault. Nothing was grabbing you or pulling you back. And then also these people had moments. I feel like a lot of people have certain seasons and then they go out of season or whatever. Right. And so with this new thing popped up, I also thought it was kismet that everybody was clamoring for and they got what they wanted with Jay Electronica. And so you're looking at two guys who have very similar styles and somebody that does it better than the other one. Your choice. Right. You know what I'm saying? And then he drops this Nebula joint. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? Like, I think it was the production because Priest is going to Priest. You know what I'm saying? For lack of a better term. And him choosing that production and be like, yo, all right, I'm just going to be falling like snow over all of this shit. Regardless of what it does. Right. And it was, and I don't know if the songs have any beginning, middles, and end. We were talking about the timelessness of them. I don't even know if the tracks have beginnings and ends. It's like each track's on, he could just keep going or stop, whatever. He don't.
That's ill you say that too, because I remember like when I first heard it, the Nebula joint, I was it's weird because like when I listen to albums, I listen to them like different ways to like really like take it in like on like the wording of it. So I remember I listened to that. I started playing it like standing in my kitchen cooking, and the shit is like an hour and like 18 minutes. And I remember I stood up the whole time just like listening to that shit. Like God damn, I think the food might have burnt. The house was on fire. I'm still just standing. You know what I'm saying? This nigga fucking on that shit.
He's flying on that joint. He was astroplaning, yo, for real.
No, but that's the good thing sometimes about like, I love like when MCs like that realize that they don't really need the machine and they kind of really
creatively too, because like you mentioned with that other record with Just Blaze and all these other flourishes that you thought you needed in the 90s, of course, you know, it's just the 90s, 2000, everybody's doing it. But for him to you know, believe in himself after all this time and rest on his laurels. That's the thing, like recommitting to his original ideals and now having to worry about what happens because he doesn't have to fulfill no, you know, major label, you know, quotas and shit like that.
Nah, hell yeah.
No, it feels like
I could tell
to him, like it feels like things shifted towards what he naturally does well.
No, that's what I was going to say. Like, I would say literally probably from like after the Walter Reed album, I would say like with this one and the one the other one he dropped after Nebula last year, the Third Eye, the Beholder.
Third Eye in Technicolor.
Yeah, Third Eye in Technicolor. Yeah,
that's the one with the blue Egyptian Sphinx on the front.
With the Skittle, one, right? It looks like.
Skittle. Oh, that one. What about the blue Egyptian Sphinx one? Did he drop that one? Is that what that was this
year? Yeah, Lord's Son. That's the Lord's Son Heavy Mental 1.1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dropped the new single. He dropped the new single like 2 or 3 weeks ago. The
cool. I'm just trying to keep
that's
up.
The one, the Lord's Son. Yep.
Yeah, that shit is fucking crazy. But yeah, like with the Nebula joint and the Technicolor, like I love the Nebula one because to me, I'm like, this is his like best album overall, top to bottom. Like, and like Castro was saying, like you could tell like he stood on his morals. Like I literally don't think it's a song on there that's less than like 6 minutes.
Nah, yo.
And it's like 22 songs on it. But every song you literally like, it feels like a novel. It don't feel like something that's like, yo.
Fearless.
Yeah, it's not like you
yeah,
like.
These are like chapters you got to stop and think about. Oh man, what the protagonist did and who has the secret this and like, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you're reading a book, you just take a second, like, whoo, like you get on a run reading a book and it gets good, and then you have to just take a second to take everything in before you lose stuff or you go back. Well, let me go back and read that again, and that's what he got you going back. You know what I'm saying? Which is not common. Nobody rewinding. Nobody's present holding. Nobody doing that, but he'll make you move that that slide bar back and forth.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that shit is beautiful, bro. Like, cause shit like that I listen to, like I always say, like to me, like he embodies kind of like how I look at my work when I create. Even I can tell Castro the same way. Like I always say, like I want to be looked at as one of the greatest writers. Now I don't want to be like the MC shit is good, but I'm like I want my shit to be taught in classrooms or just different ways of writing, different words.
Hell yeah.
And like that's one thing I could tell I loved about him, like that he always been like the inspiration for me. Like I could tell he took that to like the 10th hour. Like if he wrote a movie, I wouldn't be surprised. Or a miniseries.
And look, it wouldn't have no ending either. Always just ending on a cliffhanger every episode. And the end of the series. What's gonna happen? I don't know, Here's another project. Like
it'll be one of them shits like Law and Order. That should have been on 42 years. Like,
no ending in sight, boy. Never.
Hell yeah.
But that's so. I think there's a good point to made in what we're talking about. That like he's two artists, right? Like Killah Priest is two different artists, and one of them is like the kind of semi-conventional, almost pop artist, like from heavy mental all the way through to like the Elizabeth, the Exorcist. Like he's doing like what part of the game is that on View from the Masada? He's got Nas on The Offering, right? And like he's just got all kinds of conventional narratives around him, right? The Horseman, the cannabis.
I forgot about the Horseman. Yo, I totally forgot. Was it Razcast?
Razcast.
Raz, Killah, Cannabis, and what's Zafir?
Corrupt.
Yep.
Corrupt.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I always wanted to call what's the name of another member, Pharaoh, because that the first if you remember the first time. Yeah, I was gonna say if you remember the first Four Horsemen song was on 2000 BC and Pharaoh had the skit right before it, and then the song came. Shit was crazy.
Shit. I didn't listen to 2000 in a long time. That's why I probably don't remember.
Yeah,
even though we had an episode on cannabis, we was like, fuck that, I can't.
Monch probably fits a lot better than some of those dudes.
But Monch does a lot of Monch does a lot of sidecar caboosing. He'll always be like last verse on a lot of shit. He's on the Slay King Tech, like back in the day shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know what I'm saying, and that was fine because Busta did it too. Busta, you would see him in the Wu-Tang documentary videos. Like he'll even tell you Busta used to have the chocolate tie, yo. He used to hang around the studio, just be there. And then cats are like, oh, what's up? And then he come in there, roll up, coughing. Hey, you want to jump on the song? Like, oh, okay. He's like, that's what he was doing after LONS before the coming. He would just be like hanging in the studio with chocolate tie with this certain strand back in New York back in the day. Right. Literally tastes like chocolate. And he would just hop on joint just being around. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome. Yeah, that's I didn't even know. That's but yeah, no, so like Killah Priest never fully fits into the conventional artist mold. It never really hits. It doesn't make sense all the way. And I think my least favorite Killah Priest album is The Exorcist from 2009. It is like wall to wall those automatic gunshot sound effects. It's very weird. It's like, and one of those like, why would we want this from you? Super tough guy stuff.
See, when he started doing that, to me, it was like, I didn't call it this at the time. But like I said with J. Rue, this was like the cannabis thing. They still had outlets to put out CDs, but nobody cared much anymore. So they would just drop and drop. And I remember, like, if you even look at how PR Terrorist was dropping stuff, it's the same type of frequency. They would be in the back of the rap magazines, like different type of ads. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all remember the classic Fred Rec ad? They started having like those type of ads, like back 4 or 5 pages at the end. Here's some album coming, and you'd be like, okay. But it wasn't with Razor Sharp Records, or it wasn't with, you know, there was no Woo, you know, so you just, the cosigns were very important back then, is all I'm trying to say.
Right.
And without the cosigns, that was true, like underground, like nobody even cared.
And that's what makes it amazing, is because I think I read that the Killah Priest, they like that's why he left Sons of Man, was disagreements with RZA, and he kind of pushed in his own direction.
Yeah, he kind of like in between, I would say, Heavy Mental and the Walter Reed joint. He didn't work with RZA or no Wu-Tang people for probably like 10 years in between that. And then around then, that's when he got, I think it was might have been 2 or 3 RZA beats on that project, and Deck was on the verse too. Like, so I guess they might have bridged that situation up over the years or whatever.
And he survived on his own.
Hell yeah.
And kept doing his thing. I mean, that's not everybody can say that, right? Like, that was definitely a thing. But I think the turning point, like the last album by that conventional Killah Priest, to me feels like the 3 Day Theory.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 3 Day Theory is like all about the death of his sister. It's very like emotional, but it's really well produced. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. I think there's a lot of weird underground people on it. Is there copyright on that? Copyright kills it.
Yeah, he's on the joint. Copy on there, Tobacco on there.
Icon the Mic King.
Oh, wait. The 3 Day Theory?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so that's what my old label, Man Bites Dog.
Yep. Last Emperor. Yep.
So those are cats that were kind of orbiting. Copy was like the flagship artist on Man Bites Dog back then. And there was other different connections that Ryan was able to choreograph. So I remember that specifically because I've seen the Dead Stock in the Closet for that one. So I know that record. But no, like all those features were that was Man Bites Dog MO. I mean, they're still around and shouts to them. But there were certain cats that would be on certain tracks and stuff like that. So that comes off like that. Yeah.
Yeah. The album has some heat on there. There was a few joints on there.
And it was produced by Count Fifth, and it was very good.
Yeah, that shit was dope.
Yeah, Capadonna's on it as well. But yeah, I think that's the last one he does that sounds like a conventional rap album, because right after that is the one that really got me to disconnect from Killah Priest, which was The Psychic World of Walter Reed. It's 2 hours and 33 minutes long.
Hell yeah. It's something with Braveheart. That's almost you almost in Braveheart territory.
I was so offended when I was like scrolling down, and I remember the came. I'm like, man, fuck you, dude. I've got shit to do in my life. Like, I 41 songs.
And he gonna do one that's 4 hours later. He gonna do Heavy Mental 3. It's gonna be 4 hours and 27 seconds.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
But after that's when he leans into it and just starts going as weird as he wants. And I think the producer who gets him the best might be Jordan River Banks.
Well, they got a lot of work together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Jordan River Banks will throw some weird stuff behind him, and as you said, Priest is gonna Priest. You know what? I'm gonna throw some weird, violin in the background. I'm gonna throw some, strange Hasidic Jewish sounds back there and see what happens.
Hell yeah. No, that shit. I always loved Priest for his production. Like, it's like, to me, like those type of beats are some of my favorite type of shit to rap over. So like myself. So like I would like, to me, that type of production, you can literally you literally have to pay attention to the words. And you can literally craft it any way you want to craft it, where it don't have to be the lyrics not all of that, the beat is hard. I ain't really get what you said. It's like, bro, you got to get what I'm saying. I'm literally doing I'm doing it over a movie score, like type shit. Like,
And one of the things that surprised me listening to all of this Killah Priest was like he has a very different levels of visibility and importance, but he never really catches bad beats. Like there wasn't a period where I was like, these beats suck. It was he just has a really good ability to find someone, lock in and get the best out of him in a way. Yeah.
Well, I mean, with his unorthodox song structure, right. That might be a producer's paradise and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure, like Reef, like I know that Roper was like happy that you let him have part of the stage too. You know what I'm saying? On GLC. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So I'm pretty sure there's opportunity for that. You know?
Definitely.
Yeah, hell yeah. Let me ask y'all, Castro, Dan, if anybody tuning in who may not be familiar with Priest and they want to, if you had to give them a starter's handbook or something like, all right, if you want to get into this guy, you have to listen to these 5 joints or these 5 particular different verses. Which ones would it be for you? Which ones would it be from y'all? I got a good list, like, and I got it kind of broken down to different eras. So I got like early shit and later Priest shit. Like,
all right, I could just go over what. So it'd be like Cross Your Heart, Cross My Heart. It'd be Bible. It'd be Heavy Mental. Like my stuff is the early stuff. To be honest with you, it would be Snakes, and then I would tell them just to close your eyes and just press the fast forward button on the tracks for Nebula and just let it play. Like somewhere in the middle. Just don't look at it. Don't read the title track and done. Just press a couple of times, not paying attention. That would be my suggestion for them. Just let it play, like somewhere in the middle.
Hell yeah.
So the way I would.
What about you, Dan?
So the way I would organize this track list would be songs that like seem like they're from totally different people, right? That would be what was fun for me. I would go from what part of the game is that to Andrea Davis from Rocket to Nebula, right? The Minnie Riperton tribute song. Like I would show people these different kind of vibes, like my favorite single of his, which should definitely be on there, would be Daylight, the light version, the Black August Daylight.
Oh,
oh yeah. I love Black August. I love the Daylight, and I would say that one, and you go into like Summer Meeting with a Buddy from the Third Eye of Technicolor, where he's like, we decode the hieroglyphs in every sip. Then I leaned over and told him I believe that mushrooms evolved from jellyfish. Vice versa, take your pick. Like he has these. I couldn't resist. I started keeping a Word document full of these insane lines that I was like,
that's what I'm saying. You could just reach. He's like a lake. You could just reach in and grab fresh fish. Like just reach in there and just grab. It don't matter what. You're like a koi pond. A koi pond. Anything you grab out of a koi pond is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Straight up.
God
so
damn.
Like, people need to hear that shit. People need to hear like there's another one, Star-Tide Floor Lamps, from the same album. One by one, the dolphins leaped over a hydrogen moon, swimming around the darkness, creating a cosmic whirlpool. The beluga whales begin to speak and click and buzzing in their schools, waving their flippers. The Big Dipper will cool. Like that's this dude is nuts. And
it's ill that you like breaking out certain lyrics, because like to me, like that's the beauty of like Priest, like, and like the beauty of like true lyricism to me, that you can literally just be like, it's kind of like me personally, like when I write certain shit, I'll just spit it, and I'm like, yo, if I could literally just, if somebody can walk by on the street and hear me say it and turn like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, that shit is fun. Like,
there it is. At any point, in the,
I can tell he practiced that shit to the 10th. Like,
he gonna make you turn like, what the fuck you just said?
Yeah. Right. So I think it's the psychic world of Walter Reed that divides the kind of early Priest from Nebula Priest.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be
definitely.
my thing. But so the Horsemen, to wrap up that discussion, I never thought the Horsemen would happen. I never really wanted it to happen.
They supposed to be working on some new shit.
Because the Horseman comes after Golden State Warriors. So like your belief in these things to come true, and then you know how it goes, the memberships change, quote unquote, and stuff like that. So I remember like Slaughterhouse was like, oh, this could happen. Like that rap supergroup stuff it would be one song and a bunch of promo, and then everybody would drop their own stuff. Like I said, Golden State Warriors came and went right before that, and then like Liquid Crew, but like those are like loose. Because to me, Liquid Crew and Native Tongues, they was all loose affiliations. They weren't like
it was like 65 people in both of them shits. Like,
you know what I'm saying? And so like the funny to bring it to the current times to think about that and it not coming to fruition, but then you have something like what is it, Mount Westmore, like the stuff actually happening. Like when it does happen, it's like that's why we all wanted it to happen. That's why we believed in it. When West Side Connection hit, three people ain't had nothing to deal with each other. I'm serious. Like one is a Crip and one's a Blood. Like what are you doing? Like literally, okay, like literally, like literally, not figuratively. You know, this is not artistic. One is steep Paru, and the other one, you know. So like you know, so that when that stuff happens and it works, you're like, all right, dope. But so when you hear whispers of it, I can go back to the Commission, Biggie J and Charlie Baltimore, Murder Inc., original Murder Inc., DMX, Ja Rule, and Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? And does it happen or does it not? My big one with Pharrell and Lupe and what they call
not U.S. Places. They had the one song U.S. Places.
Yeah, the song So U.S. Places. It was like CRZ, the Rebel something. They had
Child Rebel Soldiers.
Child Rebel Soldiers. Yep, CRS. Yep. Then I know, but after Child Rebel Soldiers was Kanye Good Music, which was kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like they weren't committing to it, but they were showing like loose Justice League of America affiliations.
Well, I think the super group I knew wasn't going to happen the most was one with Mos Def, Jay Electronica, and Currency. Like, yeah, no.
What were they called? What were their name? They had a name?
I think they did have a name.
There's always a name, because that's where the hype comes from. There's always some weird on that.
It was like, there's no way that is going to happen.
Literally, I'm not even going to lie to you. You saying that is hilarious, because do you realize how easily Currency would have been getting smashed on them fucking songs? Like,
oh man, he would have been Proswell all over again.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
But Currency wouldn't even care. Like, I'm living jet life. You know what I'm saying?
That would have been a horrible group. Terrible group.
It doesn't make any sense, because those like Currency's like always working.
And I love him, but it'd be like doing Ha Ha 3 with Rasco. And I love Rasco. You can't put Rasco over Reddit, you know.
One of those, like,
it's hard enough about Rasco being with Planet 8. I love Rasco though.
One of those, like, what does Jay Electronica and Currency talk about? I don't get.
I mean, well, they would talk about them slabs though. They could talk about slabs and the car life. Yeah, because Jay, you know, on that New Orleans. But now, you know, we don't know where Yasin is. So you know, he might think the car missions is a bad idea. That's his words. Car missions. So air quality.
So Sharif, what songs would you put together? You have 5 songs or whatever, and you're just gonna put them together for the non-priest aficionado.
Yeah, for some reason your sound's still going in and out too, huh?
Now it's doing that same thing again.
Yeah.
Here?
Okay. Yeah, you good now. It just
okay. So your 5 songs to get people into priest. What would they be?
All right, I split mine up in the early priest, later priest. So
cool.
Early priest, it'd be Heavy Mental, obviously. One Step. I put Mystic City on mine. High Explosives, and his verse crazy, and his verse on the what's the name, Snakes. Like we were talking about how crazy that shit was. Later Priest, whole Nebula album, top to bottom.
Woo!
And because after the Walter Reed thing, he started doing this thing too, where he did a lot of dope, ill animated visuals for like a lot of his songs. So like, that's another thing he incorporated that I'm loving. Like, and from that era, I picked the Wing People, Grandfather's Land, Saffron, Alien Stars, and the it's EINSOF, something like probably from like a few years back. And he just dropped one like 2 months ago called Ghost Hamu Rabbi. That's fucking ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah, Ghost Hamu Rabbi. Yep.
Yeah, one of the things I enjoy that like Killah Priest was always linking all the mystical, magical, wild shit to his writing. So he was like, when I write, these planets exist and we jump these time frames. And so he was definitely the magician center stage, being like, this is the show and it's my show. So it's good. You don't want to be too humble about it, I guess. You want to keep it existing for you.
Hold on, Dan, I figured it out. When you lean back, that's when the sound is fucking up. So literally just stay like in one spot right there, and you go.
Do that. I move too much.
All right, you're right. You go right there. Once you do the dip back, the
sound does something.
The audio the audio gets deleted.
Gotcha.
You go right there. Hell yeah.
So yeah, I think that's and the call out culture cannabis episode was great because you kind of talked about like how hard it is to listen to a lot of cannabis.
With the vocal tones and the lack of diversity. And it's funny because you pick and choose that, because there are some MCs that really don't sound that much different. You know what I'm saying? But then there's some great MCs like Jay-Z. So that's all you can come up with. You're like they're not afraid to dance with those. That's actually what separates some people, when they're not afraid to let their voice do some work for them. And so like with cannabis, it's just like droning you after a while. It's just like, oh my God, like how many, you know what I'm saying, molecules is he gonna talk about now? Whatever, like how much of the periodic table he cover.
Castro, let me ask you, because I think to me, like just from being fans of them both, I think cannabis might have slightly had like a Priest type of career where it's kind of like he had the fire ass feet. He came out with the classic features that everybody knows.
Yep.
And his first album came out. It took shit when it first came out, but to me, if you go back, it's definitely gems in there, from Buckingham Palace to
there's a few.
And in 2000 BC, and I would say like from 2000 BC, he had a good probably 4 to 5 years, just like with all of the different releases. Like, but to me, I kind of like picked up again with the Bronze Nazareth album. Like to me, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. That shit is ridiculous.
Yeah. So but like this. So I mean, he was inundating us. It seemed like he was. My thing with cannabis, it seemed like he was bored. So some of these projects, when they come out of boredom, and he has so much rhymes, there's an ability to hold back. Like, all right, these books I was writing and practicing, but I'm not gonna release those. He released them. He made a song out of everything.
I can tell he writes probably like 73 bars a day that he's gonna.
Yeah.
He's gonna.
And they all coming out.
Yeah,
and they all coming out.
Yeah.
No editing. And because you have that lack of edit, you want to get out everything. I mean, I'm pretty sure his situations turned into what they turned, so I'm pretty sure he's compensated. But there's definitely an edit. And some MCs don't know how to edit. And I mean a long form, like cut a song. Like, he could never cut a song. Are you kidding me? Oh God. I recorded 24 songs for this thing. 24 is going on there. Oh, he's not cutting a song. So to be able to edit, I think, is another skill. And sometimes those cats are victims of their inability to edit, where they just give you everything and it's just an inundation of so much. And hey, I'm not like, I'm trying to rap till I'm 60. I don't care. But at the same time, I'm a curator. I edit heavy. You know what I'm saying? I'll go and trash a whole verse of mine. If it ain't I just did it. That's what I'm laughing at. Yeah.
Hell yeah. No, that's the beauty of just knowing how to literally take the 2.5 hour amazing film and make it into an hour and 20-minute masterpiece.
Right.
That's the true art of that for sure. Like,
and while Killah Priest albums are always too long, like always, even when they're 14 songs are too long, they are there's still like you're gaining from it. It's still good to be there because of how he organized his thoughts. I think that's.
Lean up more there. Yeah, lean up again.
Yep.
Yeah.
How you organize your thoughts. Like Killah Priest is great at organizing his thoughts. Like Cannabis will wrap you through the periodic table, but like Killah Priest will kick a bar and be like, I got the periodic table in my crib. I put my feet up on it. You're like, oh, that shit's great. And we just move past the periodic table.
Exactly.
No, I can tell Priest, like, he seems like somebody who like write in sections. So it's kind of like a lot of times as creators, we might have an idea like where it's like, all right, I know I want to touch on this. I know I want to make the song 3 minutes. I know I want to touch bang, bang, bang. All right. 4 bars here goes perfect with it. And these other 2 bars, they dope, but 1 word is throwing the whole rest of the 6 bars off. So I'm gonna scratch that and put another maybe 4 bars on it next month. That's like, oh shit, this shit is fucking nice. Like, and when it's so funny, but it might be a year later, depending on how surgical you get with like how you putting the idea and thoughts down. But I can tell it's a lot of that. Like,
definitely a pyramid builder, like a wide base. And then building on,
great
and building on that thing into to the pinnacle to that point. And like I said, the point might, like he'll leave songs unresolved because the art's finished, and that's a big distinction. You know what I'm saying? Some people write songs beginning, middle, end. He writes, like we talking about time as a flat circle. He writes songs to write a song. It doesn't have to have a conclusion, or it doesn't have to tie up in a nice tidy bow at the end.
Right.
And there's a lot of freedom to that. Lucid does that too. There's a lot of freedom to that. Just stuff that exists in space, you know. Like we saying, I could take this back to the 1500 and play it for them, and they get it.
And the cool part about this revolution, the Nebula Revolution that came about with last year, was I wasn't reading a lot of like sites reviews on it. I was just seeing rappers talking about how great these Killah Priest albums were. And it was just kind of a word of mouth, like people being like, this is amazing. And it's, by the way, Nebula is not my favorite Sharif. I like Third Eye in Technicolor better.
Yeah, that shit is, funny thing, I'm gonna tap more into that because I remember it came out in the same year as Nebula. So like, really last year was like off the charts with like just amazing ass albums to literally like sit and like build and decode with, which I like to do. So the Technicolor joint, I remember hearing it like, yo, this shit is dope as hell.
Yeah.
But I didn't sit with it as long as Nebula. So I definitely got to go back and sit with it for sure. Like, especially like off of the shit you was spitting earlier. I'm like, God damn. What the fuck?
Every song in Technicolor is just this full dive into the nature of reality and the just wild imagery is fully unlocked, and just how long is it? It's very long too.
Yeah, Nebula, that shit is like an hour and like 20 minutes.
Audacious, as one would call it. Very audacious.
But it's and I did get to see him live in Maine. He did come to Maine. It was.
He feel like he put on a dope ass live show.
Yeah, how was that experience?
So it was interesting because I bumped into this girl that I had a crush on. She was with her attractive friends, and then later on, her attractive friends are on stage, twerking to
heavy metal instrumental
with Killah Priest as he's doing his like biblical references, you know.
Oh, he definitely, he has a twerk section in his live show. Oh yeah, they get up there.
Yeah.
So that was a really good, important moment for me to be like, wow, both things are true at the same time. This is
hell yeah.
Gotta get them one that could do both. Ain't that what the women want? They want one that could do both.
Hell yeah. Next time I go to the strip club, I'm bringing Nebula. I'm gonna be like, yo, y'all better spend this shit the rest of the fucking month.
Play track 7 on. Play track 8 on, yo.
Had these girlies in here going crazy to motherfucking
dropping real knowledge.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Bring mine down to the Onyx or something. Be like,
what I'm saying? Yo. Oh,
Word is wild, son.
bitches handing out Wu-Tang manuals and shit. For real, yo. Oh man, you can't throw your money that night. You gotta have it gently wrapped in bands, hand it to the whip.
Nah, they're gonna do the scan shit in the wrist. Where they scan the wrist, get the money out of that shit.
Let's see a chip.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Put your chip, present your chip. They like at the end of the night, cats all hazy. They gonna look at their balance. Damn, like
future is now.
I ain't even gonna front, Castro. That's an ill-ass song concept. We gotta do that shit.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Yo, with the palm chip in the strip club.
Yeah, hell yeah. Palm chip in the strip club.
We gotta do that, yo. Balance all fucked up.
The third verse is about your chip has been denied. Is that the whole like your?
Oh
yeah.
Man.
Once the chip is up, that's it. You turn the dust. You evaporate as soon as the chip is up. It's like your life saving.
A mop and a bucket. They give you a mop and a bucket. They'll clean up all this. No, look. When the chip is up, they make you get on your hands and knees and pick up all the dollars. Count the money. You go into the count room and shit. You just count money. Oh shit. All this, look, that's your money and shit.
Real talk.
Oh shit.
So it's so what and there's been talking on this on Twitter. Why are the covers so bad? Why are his covers so bad? What is going on?
I like the Nebula cover. The Nebula cover is ill to me.
The Nebula cover is dope. The new God joint is dope. The animated, the drawing ones is dope. But like him, Capadonna, there's like a race for like just like what's the worst thing we could do? What cousin of mine needs a stack and I could call him up and he got a computer or a Mac and he could do something up for me real quick? Those look like my old mixtape covers back in the day when I had a deadline. I was like, yo, I told everybody I'm dropping this tomorrow. I ain't got no artwork. Can you stay up for 2 hours and do this shit?
You're like, yo, put my face half pigeon, half
What is it? You have a pigeon one? No, I don't know, but just do it, man. Do it. We too far into it. We can't stop now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I bet you the Jewel would be sitting down with him and asking about the covers because then his explanation would probably have a lot more doing than understanding. Like the 3-Day Theory one had the whole Silver Samurai half cut off. That was dope. But then there's,
Yeah.
I will say, so like
the Heavy Mental one was dope with the
of course, with the planet.
That shit was ill. Like
that's crazy.
The Nebula one was dope. The Technicolor joint was dope. The Walter Reed,
the latest one. Yeah, like as I'm saying, like and then and then we want you to finish, but the photo shoots, because like the stock pictures on the front, this is taking me back to MFC Magnum Force days. These are horrible photo shoots. Like,
horrible.
Empire Strikes Back. Yo, you got a roll of film. Did we take a pictures last week? Here, just use this one. Did you proof it? Look, just go, man. We don't got time. Like all these questions. Cats had no time to proof it with the little magnifying glass. They just said, go, go, go. These are hard. And that was the thing. But again, it's funny, but you look at like Jay-Z never had an album with a bad photo shoot, no matter how rough it got. 50 does have weird covers. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people compromise for whatever reason, budgetary wise.
Castro, we got to set that up for a call out episode. Worst hip hop album covers ever.
Oh yeah, we got that. We putting that because but here's the thing. The funny thing about that is people will come at that pen and pick stuff like, no, there's a lot of mastery with those. The symmetry,
right?
The bears standing on their hind legs. You can't front on some of that. But there's some, like you see that new dude that brings that goat thing. You see that goat thing that guy got going?
Yep.
Oh my God. He's like a real goat.
There's a difference between like a terrible cover and a cover that's so bad it's great. Like, so when I first saw the Rocket to Nebula cover, I was like, this is weird. What is it? And then I was like, wait, there's a gnome with a rocket in the tree?
Yeah, okay. But like
that cover is like beautiful.
All right, Trick Daddy, slip and slide. Jeez. With all the little computer buttons on the front. Like, first of all, it's .com errored out. Like, you can't even get away. It's the computer screen, right? You can't get away from it being .com. But his face on there, slip and slide, like I think the lettering is like spilling. I don't know. Is it great? It's
fucking terrible. it might compare for 99 and 2000 Miami. It might get looked at as fucking It Takes a Nation of Millions on the art level for certain.
That is. They hold that joint up over their head in a boom. But I mean, it's a great, like, don't get me wrong, but like, whoa. But then something as we can talk about it, but like I know people that didn't like the Chronic cover, but I feel like y'all didn't understand like the little hanging ropes and there's all that little opulence.
Yeah, that was always dope to me.
Background.
Like,
yeah.
That's what
and it's weird.
But
the weird part, Castro,
worst covers. That's a combo for sure.
I think Trina's covers were great. Like the baddest bitch, still the baddest.
Well, when she was giving when she had the
hell no, Dano, fuck out of here. Good covers wasn't shit. She just looked good.
She had the high heels and the panel. It was her. Like I wouldn't read. It was her on the cover. Like that was horrible. Like I got a real person on this stretcher.
I am probably blinded by my love of Trina. That's probably a factor.
Here's the funny shit with shit like that. I look at shit like that as like, damn, in real life is this dope. Literally, she doesn't seem like she could save your life at all if she really worked at a hospital.
No,
like if I was fucking dying and she came in, I'd be like, damn, I just want to fuck. Fuck is this bitch.
On the badge charge, like what's the jewels on these things? What is going on, man? Where's her certificate? Don't let her, she ain't wear the mask on her face. Like, I need help.
Yeah. As a very young person, my eyes were popping, like, wow, she was good on this. But yes, if I was a grown-up, I would be like, this better be a story album about what's happening on this cover, because what is happening? Man. What happened to his head? Is he okay?
Or like, what was it? Foxy Brown's second record.
China Doll. Fucking terrible.
China Doll. That was lazy. Lay with the silver. That was so lazy. Yo, that was some intern doing a job for somebody that forgot about the deadline. And they were getting yelled at on the phone. You better get this thing in here or you will never. And they were sitting there because they were sweating because they would have got fired if it is. And then when they went in, they were all quiet with their fingers crossed. Oh, it made it past. It made it past the editors, yo. Because that was not the plan, yo.
Not the plan.
That was not the plan.
Funny thing, that's how I always felt about the Nas Nostradamus album cover. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, with the hood on and shit. I'm like, I get it.
Wait, you didn't think that? Yo, he made for the IM. He made the Egyptian mask. He actually had that joint. Like,
not IM.
Yeah, I know. I'm just comparing them. But he didn't make that one. So then you go to
Yeah, because it's just like, yo, I'm gonna put a big ass hoodie on. It was literally like, and the album wasn't shit. So like.
Yeah. And it was one of those ratted hoodies. Like, give me one of them Jesus hoodies. Like that. Like a cloth was all ratted and shit.
Yeah, I was like, what the
That's what I'm saying. Because of the other one where he actually had the whole Egyptian headpiece made. Like, yeah, that was lazy.
Nas and Genuine, you owe me. Oof.
Oh, I love that song.
I
love that song. Pay me back like you owe my back. It gets the asses
bouncing. When I was in the club before COVID, it used to get the booties bouncing.
Yeah, so I used to compare. I have curly hair, so I'm all Genuine out. They compare me to Genuine. So when that joint came, I was like, "Shorty," everybody hated me. I just turn that shit up. I be shaking my shoulders. I love that track. I know it ain't shit, but I love that track. I used to be doing. I be in the mall. We doing the escalators and shit. I be replaying parts of the video. Fuck that. Where the brave parts at? I'm the only one in my record crew that love the brave parts. Everybody like gags, but I love all of them, yo. They was so love. Except Jungle could rap, but the rest of them could not. Big Horse Step. He's like, man, y'all ain't embarrassing me no more. Horse stepped after the verse. And he had some good lines. I know they were helping each other out, but you know what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, Horse
had the look. Horse had the big man bald head look. He looked like Ahmed Johnson.
Yeah. But just like your man, I know you like this motherfucker, Rick. Your man I-80 and shit. You can fuck with that dude. That dude was horrible. He had a record, yo. He had a record deal with Ludacris.
I-20.
I-20, yo. I said I-80.
Funny thing, the nigga looked just like, I think he died, he came back as Freddie Gibbs. He looked just like that.
I thought you were going to say he was J-Rock with a face.
He looked just like Freddie Gibbs. I don't know why.
I'll tell you, if somebody could do like a documentary on a bad record label mismanagement,
Disturbing the Peace. You want to know about this? Who was the other short dude?
Label.
Who was the shorter one? It was I-20 and what was the other one?
Lil Fate. Lil
Lil
Fate.
Fate. Lil Fate.
Oh,
Yeah, Sean.
that was
They
bad
bumbled the
stuff.
Shauna. They bumbled the Shauna bag.
Oh,
That was right there for the taking. The
she was
Shauna
great.
bag.
Oh, man.
What are you doing? What are you doing, Luda? Oh, but no. What happened was, remember, and there's a little caveat that they made that group album, his, hers, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
And then she stepped, Battle of the Sexes. But then she stepped, and then that's when Luda made that his own album. It was on some Rock La Familia stuff. But you could hear some songs that Shauna's supposed to be on there retorting, and there is no retort. It's just Luda. Yeah, that was Luda. And that, to me, that was funny because that wasn't a good look for Luda. He shouldn't have done that either. It just looked weird. And then he started falling and started doing more Fast and Furious.
Sadly, I own that album, and I get made
chicken and beer.
I get made fun of when people come to my house. They're like, "Bro, how the fuck you got this Battle of the Sex?" I'm like, "Bro,
Battle of the Sexes on CD. He got on vinyl.
Chicken
He got on vinyl with a big look. With the big ass insert, you pull out the vinyl. And shit.
They got the lyrics.
Ludicrous.
They got all the lyrics. They got all the lyrics in cursive.
That's
and a big ass picture of Ludacris, yo.
That's incredible.
Wait. Did he have the fade yet? Did he cut his hair? He cut his
hair. Yeah, his hair was cut already.
So we ain't have to deal with the afro. Chicken and beer. That picture on chicken and beer. Yo, think about that. They set that up. That was a shot. Dan, that's what you gotta understand. It was a shot. They set up all that chicken in front of them. The women like, that's a shot. And they're like, all right, stay still. And then shot pictures of that shit.
Terrible.
All day, chicken and beer, dude.
For real, what Ludacris was there to let you in, there's a Kuhn equation. And you don't want to fall into the you don't want to fall into like a Kuhn hole. And he went head first. When he was skating close to it, right? He was close. He was like real close and he wouldn't go there. He went right there, man. He said, "Oh shit, I gotta
chicken and fucking Hennessy, bro.
Chicken, but I gotta cut my hair and be in traffic." That was it. He was like, "Oh, this rap shit, I can cut my hair and be in traffic, yo."
Well, and that's why the equation you're talking about, like I'm in Maine, I have a lot of like black friends in Maine, and they'll be like, I love watermelon, but I can't eat this in public. I can't let white people look at me eating watermelon.
Don't fall for the stereotype. Look, they've been working on that image too much. Like, I'm telling you, there's like bubble gum. There's all types of brands with the watermelon. So like, our cats be extra to be also no homo how they eat bananas now. You ever see it? Y'all see it? How they break pieces off, shake it in their hand and eat bananas and shit.
I see they got watermelon. They got a damn car air freshener that smell like watermelon now.
Yeah. Yep. So same thing with watermelon. Chop it up in the cube, put it in that little fruit thing, and eat it with a fork. There you go.
Yep. That's the recommendation.
No doubt.
Sharif, give me. So one of the interesting things about Priest is there's so many different skills. He does wordplay. He does punchlines. He does the kind of cosmic stuff, the research stuff, the personal stuff. What are specific skills that he's given you that you've built on and learned from and enjoyed?
It's funny because, like, for me, I would say probably the most significant one to me is just like patience with your writing. Where it's kind of like I said, I could tell is him creating songs like Heavy Mental and the Nebula Project and the all of the other Sons of Man joints. I could tell like he literally like took writing as serious as he can take it on some like, all right, in life, this is the main thing I'm supposed to do. I want to be celebrated for what I do. And just like his attention to detail, where kind of like like you said, he can talk about stuff and create his own world. Like, and for that, I always looked at it like, yo, if I'm a write and create, it gotta be as beautiful and as captivating as possible, whether it's from the production style, from voice tone, from visuals, from just putting certain things together that you might not ever hear put together in a certain way. Like even just like talking about the lifestyle that he from, like the Black Israelite lifestyle, like he touched on a lot of different stuff that a lot of people never even touched on and knew about in thorough detail. But he did it in a way where it's like, all right, I get it, bro. I get it. You're preaching to me. He did it in a way that you like, yo, I'm feeling this like I want to dig more deep into this lifestyle and what he's talking about type shit. Like, So education, like, is one of the main things.
Yeah, Castro, I saw an interview on YouTube, and somebody was like, Killah Priest, do you consider yourself a 5%er? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, well, Killah Priest is kind of every spiritual thing. Like, he's the first, like, mainstream, not mainstream, but like rapper that wasn't like a Christian rapper or anything like that. He was like, I am invested in everything spiritual, every different path you can take. That all feels connected to him somehow.
Yeah, I mean,
it's crazy because his podcast too, he touched on a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so yeah, he comes across as like a spiritualist in terms of, like, when I went to college, I was off the Christian farm. I was a Baptist. I was raised Baptist, but at college, it gave me the opportunity to study Western religions, to study, you know, Eastern stuff, like just to dabble in it on an academic tip, learn about Buddha and all these other things from an objective standpoint. And it seems like Priest is on that same tip, because if you could look at everything, you know, even if you go with the whole one God theory, you could just break it down from there. So then you look at, well, what's their one God theory and other things. So, because, like, it also makes you worldly, you know what I'm saying? Like, I used to always say this thing about, you know, some Christians will think you're damned if you don't, you know, take Christ as your savior. But I was like, if some little kid grows up in the outer Mongolia, how can he be damned? You know what I'm saying? He doesn't even speak our language. So what would he know about somebody labeled a Christ? You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just similar concepts, different languages, and religions are different languages of similar concepts. And Killah Priest is our thesaurus of that religious language, but from the spiritual context. And he's going to touch on everything. And also, he's not just a globalist. You know, he thinks in universal concepts. So, like, all right, you on this little planet Pebble, we going out to the nebula, literally. You know what I'm saying? What's past the Milky Way and stuff, and like high-end telescopic things. Everybody sees that video of size and proportion to see how Earth is to the red dwarf, to this cosmic anomaly, to the binary systems and stuff. We're almost microscopic in a sense. So, like, he writes from that perspective, like, don't get too full of yourself, because there's a universe out there in the black dark with all these suns that can make you, like, really feel small. So, like, I took from him a stylistic point, the one syllable consistent flow. I'll do that, like a run. When I first write, and it was like, it was about couplets. So this line has to rap with this line. But then you learn, sorry, y'all. You could take people on a journey where this line raps with this line, raps with this line, raps with this line. Now they're kind of like, what are you going to say next? And then that's when you can flip it. And so Priest had a lot. I'm not the best at stream of consciousness stuff in that way. I do it in my own little way, with it more so being in service to the rhyme. So my stream of consciousness is more in service to the rhyme. And if I can get little droplets, gems within that, then so be it. But some cats can really take you from one stream to the next. And now we on this train and we on that train, and keep you there for a minute. There's a lot of that with Killah Priest. Like, he'll take you to Munich, Germany, and we'll stay there for like 4 bars, and then, you know, we'll come back to the Bronx. So, you know, that's dope.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and sometimes, like, in my life as a writer, like, I've become most interested in writers who write nothing like me, and because their skills are so interesting for me to study, because they're so different. And I think that's, you know, it's important to kind of rotate those through. Ultimately, Killah Priest. I hope the legacy is the writing, and how endless and promising a blank page is. Like, when you have a blank page, you have anything you could hope for. Yeah. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope.
That would be my legacy. Thank you for coming, Sharif. Thank you, Castro.
Definitely.
I am so happy and so proud of where you are in your career. It's been so exciting to watch.
Super well deserved.
Anyone who is discovering Castro through Haram, there's a song to start at, and this is Castro's directive. Winter '87 off Fidel. Just press play on that, and you go from there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Get it done. But and I would say to end, I would just say, Chet Hanks, get off social media. Just let it go. Just
Hey,
go
wait,
read books.
Dan. Hey, he is empowering White Boy Summer. There's some empowerment there, and it's been hard for y'all recently. So I don't know if there's some reclamation going, because it don't seem as threatening as other things that have been deemed. White Boy Summer. You see, there's a little power in there. I don't know if you'll have to. Got to mitigate. Got to see what's good. You at least gotta see what's good, yo. See what the first couple of Instagram stories look like.
History is full of White Boy Summers, and it's been rough. It's been
White Boy
rough.
Red Summers, yeah, man.
So
yeah, I mean,
we don't need more.
Chet seems, I don't know, he seems harmless to me. Kind of funny now.
Yeah.
You know, and look, hey, Chet's always worried about that big black line through the will. So like he can only go but so far. You don't want to get that crossed out line.
You don't want to get crossed out. Don't get crossed out.
No, man, don't get crossed out.
Subscribe to the Free Music Empire. Don't comment, because I don't fucking care. I'm not gonna read that shit. Enjoy.
Subscribe to my man Dano, man.
Subscribe.
Empire.
You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. Call out culture. Support my call out culture family every week.